If you're looking to move to North Carolina in 2026 from out of state or another high cost of living area, this video is for you. My family and I moved from Seattle, Washington about 5 years ago to the Triad of North Carolina. I'd love to share what has surprised me the most since moving and what I've learned along the way helping other buyers move from other larger cities to the Triad. My name is Heather and I am a local realtor here in the Triad of North Carolina. Before moving here, my family and I lived in Seattle, Washington, and so I understand what it's like to research a new area, try to understand what the neighborhoods feel like, or kind of predict what your day-to-day might be in a new state, new city, all of that. And now I live here, and a big part of my business is helping people like you get comfortable and learn and answer and know the right questions to ask when you're moving to a new area or a new state or a new city. For us, the move to North Carolina really came down to a few things. Number one, it was a job opportunity came through the door for my husband. He was with Boeing in Seattle and had an opportunity with Honda Aircraft. As soon as we started considering that, we were doing research and looking into the different areas that might be a good commute for us to settle on a house. We were actually in the process of purchasing a new home in Seattle, so we were already in the thick of putting offers on homes, doing research on cost per square foot and things like that in Seattle. And what was interesting is when we saw this opportunity come about, it really shed light on the difference of what a dollar can get you in North Carolina versus what we were trying to spend money on in Seattle. The Triad just offered something different that wasn't available to us there. And that's ultimately a huge factor in the change of life and pace that we could experience for our family here in the Triad versus what we were looking at potentially purchasing in Seattle. One of the biggest contrasts for us came in our experience in trying to buy a home in Seattle and trying to buy a home here. The things that surprised us most was the intense competition. In Seattle, we were losing out on homes, multiple homes, when we were already offering over ask. We were doing everything we could to have the best offer, trying to make it so that we had a strong bid. Unless you had cash or just some very abnormal elements that you could add into your offer, we were unsuccessful. So moving here, that intense competition, granted it was early on in 2021, so it did pick up after this time, but it was nothing like Seattle. I mean, here when we found our house, we were kind of like, okay, to our realtor, how much over ask do we need to offer? And that just was not the case here at that time. So that was just something so nice for us. It allowed us to give time and really consider, okay, is this the area that we really want to be in? We didn't have to feel rushed. So that was a huge component. The competition versus the choice gave us that freedom in identifying the different areas and really exploring the different areas. Another element was the price to space comparison. In Seattle, we were often looking at very small lots. We were looking at very old homes, and those were great for us. We were very excited about those opportunities, but here it presented the chance for us to look a little bit beyond what we were expecting or thinking that we might be able to afford. I all of a sudden got to imagine a large yard for my dogs and my kids and things that wouldn't have been possible in such a high density city like Seattle. Another element was that I kind of highlighted already is that pace of buying. We really had the opportunity to make sure all of our ducks were in a row and that we were evaluating all of the options and considerations, especially even considering the different areas. We were so used to a very large commute in Seattle, minimum 45 minutes for either one of us to get to our jobs, and here, even considering much less than 45 minutes, we had so many different communities and cities that we could consider because we had all those opportunities in those areas just to get to work that were much quicker, less traffic, all of those constraints that present to you in a high density, large city. And then the last thing that was really surprising to us is that the variety of the different types of homes that we could consider. In Seattle, of course, it's pretty built out unless you go out into the neighboring suburbs. Here, we got to throw in the words like new construction or even land into the conversation. Or even just new within the past 10 years. That was something that was really appealing to us. We were looking at homes that were built in the 60s and 70s, which are amazing and incredible homes, but here we got to look for opportunities in a newer community, and those were elements that we're not able to do in Seattle. So those were some of our most surprising aspects of our home purchasing experience here in North Carolina. When I say that who the Triad appeals to, I'm talking about people who have a preference towards housing choices, a preference towards a slower pace of life, and a preference towards lifestyle considerations. Not people themselves, but those are the elements that this area really provides. And if those are the things that you are kind of adding to your hopes and dreams, this area really allows for those to come to reality. In my experience, we were living very much in the city in Seattle. We had city buses go by our home, walk to parks instead of having a backyard, and we loved that so much. It was a great time for us in our lives, but we came to the point where we were really dreaming of a backyard in a neighborhood where our family could easily go from house to house and kids going from house to house. So that was one of the biggest appeals for us, and that's something that you get here in the Triad. And the other thing that becomes an appeal is having a car-based lifestyle where we love to be able to walk to go get our groceries. Here you do need those elements. You do need a car for the most part to get your weekly groceries. And another appeal, again, is the newer homes, the new construction. It's just a great opportunity for those who are thinking long-term where you might want to be in the future. If you're researching a move into the Triad of North Carolina, I'll be linking my community guide below. It really highlights all the different areas within the Triad. For example, the Triad is Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. Within those three areas are so many different communities. Every neighborhood and community has its own feel. So use this as a resource. It's something I wish I would have had. One of the first things I made because it really dives into, okay, here is the price range of the homes in this area. Here are some of the fun things or different parks. So click that link down below. I'll be sharing more videos talking about new construction, talking about specific neighborhoods and communities, what that looks like for purchasing and relocating. Some differences, there's a lot of differences of purchasing a house. Like in North Carolina, like you need to have a due diligence part of your offer. You need to have an attorney. Those are all things that we didn't need to have when we were trying to buy in Seattle. So I'll be going through those details. If those are something that are interesting to you and you're looking to move to this area, please feel free to follow, like, share all the things. And I'm excited to hopefully help you in your new relocation.